Landmines and jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess. And does anybody else find it kind of ironic that seeing eye dogs can't read? Is that just me? But do me a favor and hit that like button, or nothing of consequence will happen. And I'll tell you right now, the property value around here has been getting a little bit too high. We're getting a little bit too fancy. So I carried the cheapest multi-tool on Amazon. So this thing is the 1Age PIN-K, the pink. This thing was $4.99 American on Amazon. So let's take a look at what we're holding. It'll bother you if I don't, and you know I love you. So first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. Let's take a look at the tools we got on this thing. So I reached the scissors first, but you've got a nice, large, pretty solid pair of scissors. These things are large for a multi-tool. I like that. We have got our knife blade here, kind of a sheep's foot style blade. We've got that. We have got our file. We have got our, come on, get out of there. Get out of there. Get out of there. We have got our saw, and we've got our can/bottle opener. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, I carried this for a week in lieu of my regular EDC carry knife, and I gotta tell you right now, this was a pleasant surprise, unboxing it and taking my first look at it. Very, very pleasant surprise. You know, I figured the pink would be kind of funny. It is kind of funny. I actually got some comments from guys that liked the color on it. They liked the pink, which was pretty cool. This was the thing that got noticed in my pocket more than any other knife that I've carried. It's just that bright pink color sticking out against my black work pants. It's always funny when stuff like that happens. And, I carried this, and it was a pretty solid carry. It was a pretty solid carry. Probably the most used thing on here was the knife, and, I used that to cut the plastic wrap off of pallets. It did great on that. The edge didn't test the best on the sharpness tester whenever I got this out of the box. It's not the sharpest factory edge, but it did a good job. The scissors, they cut pretty well. They did their thing. They're solid scissors. You can see right there looking at it. This is a solid pair of scissors. I fed it a little bit of material, and I also went into the workshop. I fed it the workshop. Words are hard. It's somehow your fault. But I went into the workshop, and I fed it some pieces of leather. It was kind of thin leather, but it went through those just fine, no problem. Quite happy with the scissors. Now, I did something I haven't done with multi-tools before, just because it didn't really occur to me, or, I didn't really think about it that hard. But, I went in and tested the file out on some steel. Like you can see, I put a bit of wear on both sides here. I did do some work with it. And so the single cut file, the single cut right here, the edge will bite in, but this right here, the teeth will just skate right across and not accomplish much on one of the pieces of steel I tested. Well, both pieces really. This just slides along. The edge will bite in and do a nice job, but you get on the splat right here, it just slides off. It still removes some material. You can see right here, it removes some material, but the wear is on the edges. The wear is on the edges. It didn't accomplish as much as I'd hoped it would. Still good for cleaning up your fingernails or something like that after you cut them. That's where it's going to be the most handy for most of us. However, the double cut file, again, the edge took the brunt of it, but I did get more into the center here, and this thing did remove material. It removed material quite well. Again, some steel that was harder. It took it off very slowly, but I got into some stainless steel that I have laying there that's got a massive burr on the edge and needs to be dealt with anyways. It's unsafe to handle without gloves. The section that I attacked with this, it actually hogged that material off nicely. It did a good job on that stuff. Another pleasant surprise out of this thing. And of course, the cannon bottle opener, it's quite sharp. It's going to do a good job. So, everything on this is pretty damn solid. It is pretty skookum. These guys lock open. I had all the confidence that I needed to work with it without worrying about it folding up or anything like that. Now, the saw here. Come on, the saw. All right, I did do some work with this thing. All right, I fed it a piece of dogwood. Dogwood is a very, very tough material. Whenever I do any work on this, it really beats on my woodworking tools. This stuff is tough. It is surprisingly tough. It smells pleasant when you work on it, though, so it's got that going for it. Kind of a nice flowery smell. But it did cut through it. It took a while to cut through it. It kind of hung up a lot, because you can see there's like no offset on the teeth. It is a thin blade, but it flexes quite a bit in there and it got stuck quite a bit. So I had to back it out and do the thing where you cut, then rock it back and forth, then cut some more, then rock it back and forth, and just keep moving it around. But it did cut through it, and it's a clean enough cut. It left some of the coating on here, I believe, but it may have burned a couple spots because I was really going at it. And then I went and got out some deer antler, and I fed it a chunk of deer antler. It was fine going through that. It was a little bit slow going, but it cut through deer antler. So the saw is pretty solid. Especially for something like this where they don't have an offset on the teeth, it still worked well enough. That will get you out of a pinch. It'll clear something small out of your way. There are applications for this, especially keeping it in your car. I can't really argue with it. I can't really argue with it. Like, this thing all the way around has been a very pleasant surprise, especially at the $5 price point. Now, I had talked about, not being sure how in the name of God they could manufacture this, store it, sell it, and ship it at $5 and not take a loss somehow. There was some conjecture in the comments that maybe they're trying to get rid of these because it does cost more to store it than it does to just sell it off and get rid of it, which may be the case here. I know I bought this when they went out of stock. They came back in stock and they went out of stock again. I haven't checked to see if they're back in stock yet, but guys, we're checking on it when I did the last couple videos on this thing. So maybe that's the case. Maybe they were just trying to get them out of there and get rid of the stock because, of course, pink is going to be a little bit harder of a color to sell than, say, black would be. It's just not as universally appreciated as a color. Personally, I like the pop of bright color on it. I'm not bothered by the pink. I am secure in who I am. I am not bothered by it in the least, and I think it's kind of funny. But, I mean, yeah, like, I got lucky and scored a good deal on this thing. I really did. And, of course, the wife is going to lay claim to this one. She likes the color on it, too, and I know she wants to have the scissors right there next to the bed in her drawer of the various blades that I've given her. She's not a knife person like I am, but she likes having some nice stuff in the drawer, so if she needs to cut something, it's right there. So, I mean, the scissors might be the most handy thing on here for her. I am usually carrying a knife anyways, so the knife on the multi-tool is kind of tertiary. It's kind of there if I forget a knife or I'm in a pinch or I'm cutting something I don't want to tear up a good blade on, but really the scissors are the star of the show on these things. This is so handy to have. Like, I lose track of the number of times I'd like to have a pair of scissors and haven't had them on me. So that's always the star of the show on a good multi-tool is the scissors. But, like I said, at the end of the day, I really like this thing. I think guys mentioned that it was a knockoff of a Gerber armbar, and I hate that. That's why I hate messing with multi-tools, because I don't know what all the multi-tools out there are, so when I stumble across something like this, it's like, hey, that looks cool and it's affordable, and it winds up being a knockoff of something. I don't like clones. I don't. I really don't. However, I got this thing. I did the first couple of videos before it was pointed out that's a knockoff of something else that's pretty well known. So, yeah, we're here now doing this. I don't support cloning at all. That being said, the patents on the designs have expired, so I feel a little bit better about that. But, outside of all that, man, this thing is solid. I am so pleasantly surprised. But, that's your lot with this thing. That's how it did for a week. So, all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in. I appreciate you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Now is a great time. There is a giveaway live at the time of recording this. So go ahead, check out the giveaway video, enter it, give yourself a chance to win some knives. And comments, I love some feedback. Let me know what you think about this and the experience with it. And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.